So, very good evening to all of the participants here. On the behalf of Account Services and SGT University, I am Dr. Ashok Rathore. Welcome you all the dignitaries here, technical advisors, panelists, guest speakers, participants for this open platform. That is, we can say, experience sharing platform. As we know, everyone has something to share for our society, and it's our responsibility to work for the society. And if our learnings, our experience uh, can change something in our society, then definitely we should do this immediately for the benefit for the sustainable things in the environment. With this motto, we have started this experience sharing platform on environment protection and public health. So I welcome our session chair, Dr. Professor Bipin Agrawal. I'm inviting him for sharing his views on current topic and webinar theme for the environment protection. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I am thankful to the Con Services and Dr. Ashok Rathorji for inviting me once again as a chairperson for the 18th session of this webinar series on environment protection and public health. The theme of today's session is water distribution network design, and it will be presented by our today's expert guest speaker, Dr. Devang Shah. In order to fulfill the water demand of the continuously growing population, it is necessary to provide the sufficient and uniform water quality through the design network of pipes. So the main aim of the distribution network is to supply a community with appropriate quantity as well as quality of water. The network construction and layout have to be very carefully prepared in order to guarantee enough pressure and ensure hygienically safe water. Once constructed, maintenance, including repair, leakage control, preventing contamination, etc., and the operation of pumping stations has to be ensured. There are four types of network: dead end, gridiron, circular, and radial systems, which may be discussed by our guest speaker. Investment cost for network construction, which includes material, labor, planning for pipes and trenches, as well as the maintenance costs such as repairs, pumping station, leakage control, preventing contamination, etc., are very high. The main requirements of an adequate distribution system are that the water quality should not deteriorate while in the distribution pipes. The system should be capable of supplying water to all the intended places with sufficient pressure head. It should be capable of supplying the requisite amount of water during firefighting. The layout should be such that no consumer is without water supply during the repair of any section of the system. All the distribution pipes should preferably be laid 1 meter from or above sewer lines. It should be fairly watertight to keep losses due to leakages to be minimum. For designing of an adequate water distribution system, various details are required, which are usually provided by the irrigation and public health departments. The general features of the area, like information about the main water source, population of the area, demand of water, requirements of the pumps, distribution network, and water tanks, are essential for efficient design of water distribution system. The design of water supply scheme for proper supply of water must be efficient to meet the daily requirement of the water in this area. Of course, this is a very wide area which requires perfect knowledge and understanding. It also covers various mathematical and statistical calculations for designing an efficient water network distribution system. Since I am not an expert in this particular field, I would request the organizers to invite Dr. Devang Shah to share his view on various important aspects of water network distribution designing systems. Thank you.
Thank you
Over to
very
you,
much,
sir.
sir. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir, for your word of wisdom on the topic and sharing the views on water distribution network design. So, today's speaker is Dr. Devang Sa. He has earned BE in Civil Engineering, ME in Environmental Engineering, and also doctorate degree in Civil Engineering. He has more than 20 years of wide experience. He has experience of construction work like for industrial plants, Karabuko, Surat, and also he has worked for civil design construction of TCT, that is Trust Chamber Test Sand Facility at LPSC ISRO, and also he is managing water supply project for small town including design, engineering, execution like EPC. He has exposure to design and detailing of water treatment plant drawing and on-hand experience of preparing detailed engineering packages like 250 MLD STP of Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority. Another plant was 27 MLD STP at Haridwar, and various effluent treatment plant and common effluent treatment plant. Selecting and finalizing vendor, getting approval of drawing document from the consultant. He is also responsible for managing site construction activities. In addition to this, he has supervised five MTech students and two PhD students as a supervisor. So, I invite our guest speaker, Dr. Devang Isa, to deliver his speech on water distribution network design. Over to you, sir. Now you can share your screen. I'm just stopping from my side.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction, sir. And warm welcome to all the participants. Good evening. Today, I am going to share some insights which I have developed during my doctoral study, Urban Water Supply and Sanitation in India, the way forward. I will give the credit of this presentation to my guide, Dr. D.T. Shetty, who was former director in REMI, Faculty of Technology and Engineering, MS University of Baroda, and he helped me a lot in developing this understanding. So this is the overview of the presentation. Uh, what I am going to discuss today is like this. Uh, First of all, I will like to state that we cannot have luxury now anymore to treat water distribution system and sanitation system separately. The time is high to consider both in integrated manner, and why I will tell you in my coming presentation. So I will not read right now this. This is the executive summary. I will explain each point one by one. What is the objectives of this presentation? To create awareness about current challenges. Water distribution system mapping and calibration must for performance improvement. Water reuse promotion in right direction and promote research and implementation of algal bacterial symbiosis and dry latrines and decentralized treatment. So one by one we will attain these objectives within the half an hour of time. I hope everybody of you is using and enjoying this facility from the corporation. Maybe you are in Ahmedabad, maybe you are in Surat, maybe you are in Vadodara, and you must be facing the challenges in one directly or indirectly, one or other way, directly or indirectly. So many regions in India are already water short due to uneven distribution, and India is under water stress since 2011, and only 40%. Let us increase this because of the recent efforts of the government. Not more than 40% of sewage generated is treated, and rest is disposed without treatment in natural water bodies. So if same scenario continues, India will become water scarce after 2050. And these are not myth, it are facts based on Falkenmark water stress indicator. If the quantity of water available per capita drops below 1700 meter cube per person per year, it is water stressed. And if this drops below 1000 meter cube per person per year, the country becomes water scarce. So we are around 16,045 meter cube per head right now. And when we got independence, it was 5,000 meter cube per person per day. and it has dropped to 1645 meter cube per person per day. So situations are getting more and more worse, which we are not able to realize while we are sitting at our home and enjoying the uninterrupted water supply. Groundwater is extracted everywhere like anything, and it is continuously depleting and going down and down. That is very well known fact. CPHEO manual says per person 135 liter per capita per day must be supplied in a town having more than 1 lakh population and sewer connections. But on an average in India, we are able to supply only 69.25 LPCD. So this is a big gap. We are not able to supply water in required amount to all cities. This is a every now and then in Vadodara, I am reading the news that contaminated water is supplied to the consumers, people falling ill, and what drainage line and water supply lines are getting connected by some way, and there is a problem. Now, can anybody of you answer me what is the major reason of contamination of the water supply lines by sewage? Can anybody of you tell me what is the major technical reason why sewage is getting mixed up with the water supply lines? Please tell me. The major reason is our system is intermittent. Our system is intermittent. So what water we are supplying is not continuously filled in the water supply lines. So it is not having positive pressure. It is not pressurized. After 1 hour of supply, when people draws the water, there is generation of partial vacuum, and that will suck any leaked sewage water from the surrounding in the water supply lines. This is the major drawback of intermittent supply, and that is why Modi ji and governments are intending to develop 24/7 supply. But since last 10 years we are listening about it, it is not happening. Why? Let us see. I hope I am clearly audible. I will like interactive sessions. Please interact. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, you are pretty audible. You can
Okay,
continue, sir.
okay. So anytime if I am not clear, if I am not able to explain properly, you can stop and ask me. So
Yes.
these are the three hyperbolas showing generation and treatment of the sewage. This blue hyperbola is almost 60% of the generated sewage, which is going inside the water bodies without any treatment. And this data is taken from the government website only. Okay, anyways. So that is a big problem. We do not have infrastructure to treat the sewage in the required manner. Thousands and crores of rupees had been spent to clean the Ganga and Yamuna, but still we are not getting the desired results. So we cannot say हम उस देश के वासी है जिस देश में गंगा बहती है. We have to achieve this target, and how it can be achieved? Let us see. Say it is not only matter of aesthetic; it is matter of health and life. Unhygienic water drinking is stunting the growth of children and causing the loss of man hours. That is the study also revealed that the total economic impact of inadequate sanitation in India amount to a loss of 53.8 billion annually. So it is a huge loss in terms of health and man hours. Stress in India is apparent. It is high stress, 40 to 80%. World is containing same amount of water what it was containing since the inception. People are increasing, but water is going to remain same. It only changes the form. So we have to adjust, and we have to find robust supply, new robust supply, which can cater the deficit. Now, this data I have taken from the Vadodara Municipal Corporation website only. It shows only 50% of operation and maintenance expenditure is recovered from whatever money we are paying to government in forms of water cess. See, I am paying 1,000 rupees water tax to VMC, and that gives me 3 rupees to 4 rupees kiloliter water. And actual production cost of the water is 10 to 12 rupees per kiloliter. That means 8 to 9 rupees is subsidized by the government. So it is a huge liability to the government. Correct? It is not able to recover the cost of the production. that is why wastage is also more. These are the common problems in our water supply system which everybody of us is facing every day. Inadequate quality, very short duration of supply. See, we are not getting not more than 1 hour of water. Desired pressure, as per CPHEO, water should rise up to second floor, 22 feet. But we are not getting it. We are getting sometimes below the ground level. So I am not wasting time in reading all these problems. We should focus on solutions. I hope everybody of you must agree that we have all these problems. Improper tariff policy means why we are not keeping the rate of the water in full recoverable mode, like 12 rupees per kiloliter. Why we are not charging? Because it is a common commodity useful to the basic life supporting system, and everybody should have access to it, like poor people also. But are really poor people getting benefited of this policy? Do they have water connection in their homes? They hardly have standpipe in their slums, and they use very less amount of water. While the high profile people living in the posh areas use lots of water in their jacuzzi bath and washing the cars and watering the gardens and all. So it is unnecessary wastage of the water. We are ready to give them water, but it should be charged higher depending upon the consumption pattern. If you are consuming more than this, water slab and water sales should be applied in the higher amount. Like in terms of income tax we are doing, correct? That will, or GIS based water tariff system should be there. In our government systems, we already have GIS based आकार नहीं कहते ना जिसको house tax. It is already applied. So for that reason, same way we can apply in posh area higher rates, in slum area lower rates. Then it will be justify the requirement of the reduction or subsidy, and it will reduce the burden on the government. It is not only important from the burden on the government point of view, but it is important for applying water reuse. How? I will come to it. Now this is the non-revenue water. Non-revenue water. That is the unaccounted for water in various cities of Gujarat. Average 35% water is UFW. There is no record where this water is going. We are supplying, but if we supply 100 liter, only 65 liter is getting recorded and consumed officially. 35% water goes where nobody knows. So this is a huge deficit. If we can overcome this, there will be a lot of saving in the system. This is also a document showing only 34% recovery in the present water sales. So everywhere there is a problem, and improper cost of the water is a big impediment. It is causing this vicious cycle. See, GSRTC previously before 10-15 years having a very poor service. Today you see none of the Volvo buses going empty. Regular bus will go empty, but Volvo bus will not go empty. So people are ready to pay if you give good service. And what is happening in case of water supply system, there is low service, so people will not pay good, and that is why they have not fund to improve the existing infrastructure, and then it will again lead to low service, and people will not give money. So no money, no improvement, no improvement, no money. This cycle will goes on and on. This cycle will goes on and on, and that we have to break. We have to break this cycle. This is India spends at least 85,000 crore rupees for subsidizing the water sector, and 4% of the government subsidies goes in this, and maximum burden on state governments. So we have to improve this scenario. Water stress, I have already discussed, and India's per capita water availability, you can see in 1951 it was 5,000. Now it is less than 1,500 meter cube per day by 2025, and in 2050 it will go below 1,000. It is the global comparison. We stand at 1,545 meter cube per capita per day, while global average is 7,600 meter cube per capita per day. So we are having water scarcity that we must understand, and we are required to immediately find out another robust source of water to cater our demands. This is also from the Vadodara Municipal Corporation website. They themselves agreed in 2040 there will be deficit of 273 MLD. Correct? So only in Hubli, Dharawad, Belgaum, Karnataka, there is a implementation of 24/7 scheme, and it has given positive results. But people are not convinced about the infrastructure cost and demand that will increase. It can be controlled by proper metering, and we have to have find out setback or alternate source which will assure the supply. So our sewage treatment plants, what we are telling about that, I told it is integrated water and wastewater management. So our STPs are already able to treat only 40%, and again, lot of STPs are not performing well. So we require to change the scenario. So 70% of wastewater which is getting into the natural water bodies is indirectly used for growing vegetables, plants, and cereals, which we are eating. So it has to be officially done in a proper way after doing disinfection of the wastewater. So in India, if you want to implement any project, you must be clear about the economic viability. And without that, we cannot think of any project only for the sake of benefit of environment. So this was my prime focus in my PhD, and I did the complete study of Vadodara Urban Development Authority area, and I tried to prove that with proper pricing, water reuse in agriculture, industry, and residence is sustainable and returns very good in IRR or value, which is capable of attracting private players. Many studies regarding this has been done in Western countries, but in India only this little bit two studies has been carried out. I did the detailed study and found out the feasibility of municipal wastewater reuse in India. So I used QGIS, WaterNetGen, and EPNet software. I designed everything with full details. This is the Vadodara Urban Development Authority map for the development plan. I identify the areas where there will be development. I prepare the localities and areas where the supply will be given. I identify the STPs, prepare the network to supply the reused water, analyze it in EPNet, and EPNet is also compatible with SCADA. That is just for your information, because people are getting attracted toward water gems. Water gems is good, but it is 10 lakh rupees per license, and no need to go for it because EPNet is globally accepted software, free, open source, with all capabilities which is there in water gems. Water gems may have some features which are more user friendly, but EPNet is equally good. It is exactly like wearing a killer jeans and paying 5,000 rupees, or wearing a local made jeans and paying 500 rupees. Both are going to serve same purpose. Correct? So I did all networks, ESR, pump, tertiary system. I did in economic feasibility study. I will show you one table where I compared all the data and prepare internal rate of return table. My screen is visible to everybody?
Yes, yes,
Can you
yes.
access it?
It's visible.
Yes. So I did a micro analysis of all outgoings and incoming costs. I kept selling water price at 17 rupees per kiloliter, and for industrial and residential use, and for agricultural use, I kept it only 50 paisa. And then also I have achieved 14.34 percentage of IRR, internal rate of return. Now any project having more than 8 percentage IRR is applicable to get loan from the Asian Development Bank. Now we are getting 14%. So it's a good interest compared to any bank. So private players will also be attracted to invest in this, and like we have invested in expressway by boot system, build, own, operate, and transfer. Same way we can apply water reuse system. Now, why I am insisting to rate the existing water supply at the higher rates? Because when you give the water reuse, that rate will be higher than the fresh water rates. So if you are giving fresh water at highly subsidized rate, nobody is going to purchase water reused. And I hope everybody of you must be aware that Gujarat government has already floated water reuse policy in 2018, which has given target of 100% reuse of all treated sewage to all municipal corporations by 2030. So sooner or later we are bound to apply this uh, uh, changes. Correct? And I have proved that water reuse is economically feasible. Now, what are the, and all these are the banks or sources which will fund this kind of projects. So it is possible and we can do it. What are the impediments? What are the impediments in this? The major impediment is we do not have any data about our existing water distribution networks. You take Vadodara, you take Surat, you take Ahmedabad. Why we are having less improvement, or why we are not able to launch as a scheme, why we are getting so much low pressure, why we are getting contaminated water. The only reason is the water distribution network which has been provided is not mapped. The government or authority do not have any map of the existing water distribution network. The preliminary design done at the time of inception is might have been done in DOS-based loop or branch software, and then whatever connections are needed, they have just given. And that is why there is no design analysis, there is no control, and that is why you cannot improve it overnight. You cannot improve it overnight. So what is to be done? So however they want to improve the system, they are not able to be successful. So what is the solution? So this is one of my well-wisher and guide, Mr. MC Mehta, former executive engineer of Bhavnagar Municipal Corporation, and he worked for 9 years in SEFT University. He has given services to PhD students and various studies. He had studied Lathi municipality, and he has done all the mapping and assessment of the existing water distribution network and its problems. So I am not going into details of that because that is not the prime focus of our presentation right now. You just understand he has completely observed the existing water distribution system. He mapped it with help of QGIS and GPS. He identified the existing pipe distribution network with such kind of pipe detectors, which will be able to locate underground pipes for which we do not have map. So he will prepare the map. He will detect plastic pipe, metallic pipe will be detected by this pipe detector. Plastic pipe will be detected by this GPR, ground penetrating radar, and we will make complete map of the existing water distribution network. And now we have EPNet software, a free open source software developed by the Environmental Protection Agency USA, which will help in perfect analysis of this water distribution network and equip us with all the data needed to understand the network, pressure, flow, velocity, whatever you want, correct? And then you will be able to understand the behavior of the network. If you are knowing at this terminal and next terminal what should be the flow and pressure, and if you check by pressure gauge and flow meter, if you are not getting the same flow, you can be sure in between there is some leakage or theft, and that you can excavate, check and correct. So this is what is needed to be done. And to solve this problem of water supply and sanitation, this is a severe problem, believe me. If anybody of you is from Baroda, you must be knowing how many articles every third or fourth day is coming inside the paper stating mixing of sewage with the water, improper supply, leakages, and lot of complaints from the consumers. So to solve this, this approach is needed. We must follow this, and we have to study this existing network. We have to map it. We have to do EPNet study, and by this we can not only achieve technically good performance, but we can achieve a lot of good financial savings. Because theft and leakage, just imagine 35% of water is lost. That we can save. We can improve the performance of the pumps and water distribution pipes, reduction in bursting and leakage. That will improve the overall performance. So this is a simple cartoon stating that he is ready to pay, but nobody asked me. And this is absolutely true. There are a lot of examples starting from GSRTC to Geo. People are ready to pay if they get good service. Now, even a layman is having a mobile phone with the good data connection. So, if you give good service, people are ready to pay. And this is what I was trying to say, block-wise tariff. In some cities it is applied, but it should be thoroughly checked and applied in every city. That depending upon the consumption and residential pattern, the rate should be changed. And these are some devices. See, in foreign countries, they are continuously taking samples and observing the quality of the water distribution network and supplied water. We are not doing that. We are just doing the firefighting condition. Wherever there is a problem, we are running and solving it. We should check the quality of water everywhere. And you must be knowing, Bombay Municipal Corporation has got first number in the Bureau of Indian Standard Survey about the water quality. None of their sample has failed because they have done all this kind of implementation and changed the water distribution lines as per requirement after doing survey with GPR and pipe detectors. So everybody can do it. The poor should not pay for water, but we are already paying by standing in line and wasting time because time is money. Correct? So this is example what I was telling about Mumbai that I have proved the tender requirements, how they have done it, and they have really applied all these measures and they have got a good performance in the water distribution network. Same way Nagpur is also have done this calibration and improvement of the water distribution network. These are the papers depicting the same fact. And Baroda has tried, but yet not succeeded. And this approach will not do. We cannot have ostrich way that hiding our face from the problem will not solve the problem. This is what I was trying to say about GSRTC. This was the old platform before 10 years. Now you see what is the scenario in the platform. If we are determined, if we have the right technology, we can definitely do it. So, how to get performance? See, for that, you can say there are a lot of measures. Generally, we are complaining. People will not work, they are not sincere, there is corruption. So there is a technical solution is also given about review of performance benchmarking about urban water supply and sanitation. So if we want to work, there are all solutions available and possible. This any water, that is Singapore water supply system. They directly they use treated sewage for direct potable reuse. Since last 10 years, you can Google it yourself in Wikipedia, all article is given. In summer, they are directly drinking treated sewage, and in other seasons, 50% is natural water, 50% treated sewage they are mixing in the reservoir and drinking. And it is successfully running. Okay? So this is this treatment scheme. So there are a lot of such examples. This is one of the scheme in applied in Surat, Pandesra. They have applied tertiary treatment to 45 mld water and 40 mld water, and they are supplying it to industries at the rate of 18.2 rupees per kiloliter. See the what same rate I have obtained in my IRR, and I have checked with the lot of water reuse project done after that, and I am happy to say my rates found out was very correct. So what conclusion is there that we need to integratedly take water supply and wastewater management, and to have water reuse promotion, we must have proper water distribution network mapping and analysis. Correct? And for that, we need to do this. And unluckily, none of our urban municipal corporation people are trained in that. GW SSB had started a little bit about EPNet, but we need to apply this everywhere in all over India. And I am ready to give training for the EPNet as I use it my PhD. EPNet, WaterNetGen, and QGIS together can solve the problem like this. If you want to design a new network by sitting at your home, if you have digital elevation model and QGIS, you can draw the network within 2 hours for a particular town or for a particular town planning scheme, one small area. And exact location and length of the pipes and levels you can get on the computer. There is no need to go to the site at all. So we are doing this training and we are ready to give this training tailor-made as per your requirement. What you want to learn, hydraulics, pipe network design, or optimization, list cost design, whatever you want to learn in this water distribution sector, we are ready to offer. Now, there is one more point. I have got only 4 minutes left, but I will tell you very interesting story about the sewage treatment also. Correct? So if we treat sewage, see CO2 in atmosphere is increasing like anything. Okay. And it is highest concentration in our human history. Now, if you treat the sewage, most treatment plants are aerobic. And aerobic treatment of the sewage generates CO2 plus H2O. If you give oxygen and biochemical oxygen demand is satisfied, the end product of the aerobic digestion is carbon dioxide plus H2O. So we are losing carbon dioxide in the environment. So furthermore, for treating 1 ml sewage, you are giving 13,000 to 15,000 rupees of electricity for generating bubbles of oxygen in a sewage treatment plant. So we are spending money, we are producing carbon dioxide, and the nutrient value of the sewage, carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, phosphorus, whatever is already there, is we are not tapping it. We all know in jungle, the potty of the animals are going directly in the soil, getting decomposed by the bacteria and get converted into the natural elements which are used by the plants again for the growth. And here we are treating the sewage and generating carbon dioxide. See, sometimes we are doing blunders. For example, we all are environmental engineers, I can assume that. And while we did industrial revolution, everybody was believing we are doing something very good. But at the end of 100 years, when we found in 1970, larger than life problems like ozone layer depletion, acid rain, climate change, everybody was alarmed. And nobody has thought this, we are going to cause environmental problems. They were just busy establishing big factories and chimneys. So same way, there is another round of the blunder that we are treating sewage, generating CO2 and not tapping the nutrient value of the sewage. So what is the solution then? The solution is you trap the CO2, whatever is going out from your, this is one figure. A study estimate suggests that current 380 billion meter cube of wastewater is generated and approximately 36 billion revenue is getting wasted in form of nutrients in the sewage. It is a very reputed journal from the Canada. I have got its citation also and I have got that paper also. So we are losing it. So what is the solution? You grow algae. See, microalgae is best for fuel production, but separation of it is a problem. So you go for macroalgae. This kind of farming is already started in Tamil Nadu and Kerala coasts. Tata Sons has started it, and then PepsiCo has acquired that business, and now that is going on by the fishermen. So they are growing this algae in the sea, cultivating it, and taking benefit out of it. We can provide microfuel, we can provide fuel, biofuel, and a lot of other products from the algae. So same kind of algae, we will cover the aeration tank with the bamboo structure covered with the polythene sheets, and we will trap the CO2, which will be sucked by the blowers, which are supplying air to the diffusers. So CO2 will be fed in the system back, which will be used by algae, and algae will produce oxygen that will be used by bacteria. That is why it is called as bacterial algal symbiosis. Lot of research is going on, and we must not remain back inside this research, and we should come out of some good solution which is workable. And then algae grown will be taken out, harvested every week, cut and collected and taken for the biofuel production. So algae will not take up CO2, but it will also consume all the nutrients from the water. So it will reduce problem of the what it is called as excess of nutrients in the water. What is called it is called as eutrophication. Problem of eutrophication in the natural water bodies. So proper nutrient value will the sewage will be treated. Oxygen generated by algae will be used by our bacteria. So your load on the aeration system will reduce. So it is a win-win situation. And you can, I have done little bit exercise on this and I have participated in a competition also, and I am open to do more research. If anybody of you is want to combine with me, I need support. See, if you invest 9,60,000 for 50 MLT plant, every day you will reach 4,000 rupees harvest of the algae. So this is a fact. I am exactly 30 minutes on, and this is all I wanted to present. Two things we need to do: treat sewage properly, and let us not mix excreta with the sewage. And future we should try to have dry pit latrine, which will only absorb like in aeroplanes, which will only absorb the excreta, and we should try out some sustainable use from that. and water must not be mixed with it. So I completed in time. Ashok sir, you can continue and you can take the
Oh,
dais. Thank you very much.
thank you very much, sir. Nice, wonderful session. You have explained very well in very less time. You have covered wide area for water distribution network design. So thank you very much, and also
Thank you, sir.
thanks a lot for the panelists and our technical advisors. Now session is open for question and answer. We have very few time. If you have any question in your mind related to the today's webinar, you can ask. Otherwise, you can also share your question on email or WhatsApp. I have already shared the WhatsApp and email address. You can also visit our site for new updates. So, any person having any questions in their mind, or any panelist, if they want to add something on this theme with water distribution network design, they can also share their experience.
Yeah, but good evening, gentlemen, and ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yes,
I,
Good
I,
evening,
I
sir.
would like to, just have. It is not a question,
yeah. Please,
but
please.
the whatever Deveshji has presented, really eye-opening for everybody. But
Yes, sir.
thing is that how will it go to the general public and also the industries where this savage generation is going on, and some of the industries are treating it and using somewhere which are not important in the industry or not for drinking waters, but how to communicate this to the people. So any networking is going on, or is it put into the consent so that people will be compelled to do these things?
Yes, Devan sir, can you
Yes,
answer this?
Yeah.
yes, sir. Sir, a very good question, and I am happy that what I wanted to convey, I am successful in this short time. Sir, I have tried to write a research paper and submit it to a journal, but unluckily due to some formatting problems and according to the reviewers, idea is good. That is what they have said, but they have rejected the paper. So I will update it and try to publish in a good journal so that it at least goes to researcher community, and for the common public, the I am doing already training sessions with the Ashok sir. I have already done 3 training sessions for GWSSB. But we can find out more accessible way. Like there are a lot of platform. Like there is a green environment or some NGOs which is doing this kind of missions to propagate this research. And sir, whatever I am saying about CO2 capture and sequestration, there are big challenge opened by the Elon Musk. $1 billion something he has, $100 million challenge he has given. So I want to take this further, and if I am successful in that, it is automatically get updated to public, and we can take help of some good industry people. We can approach government directly. See what presentation I have presented in front of you today. I have made it to go to be. I have already submitted it to Gadkari's email ID. What internet is giving for his access, but I have not got reply yet. So please help me propagate to this. I am trying my best to do, and if any input from your side is there, I will be most happy.
Yes, sir. This should be put into the government's notice that this type of research work has been done. It's a very valuable research is done, and it should be percolated to the state governments as well as the central government CPCB, so that the enforcement will be done by the government agencies, so that all the municipalities or the corporations or the industries, all these people have to come out and implement these things to actually save water as well as save the environment.
Sure, sir. I will take this as your word, and I will do my best. I have some access to local people, the leaders. I will try my best to penetrate, and I
Yes, sir,
will also
yes.
take help from Ashok sir.
And in addition to this, we have started this platform for that motto only, that we have to train. We have to aware the people in the field, so that when everyone should aware about the things, our sustainability, then we should act. Of course, we have already communicated with the group, societies, colleges, universities, politicians also, and our am is in the same way. We are doing the all these things in the same way, that everyone should learn, everyone should aware about these things, and we should go for the environment protection. Because every when we feel like corona pandemic or many other pandemics are we have already felt, so this type of situation should not be created again and again. So we should be, means when public will aware about the things, we have to create things, we have to do in the right way. So for that purpose we have started this platform, so that one can share the experience and everyone can learn, and after learning we should implement. So, sir, I think because due to the time constraint, we cannot take more questions, and I will invite the questions over the WhatsApp, over email,